Samity Samtastic, bringing you more Guild Wars as we follow up with Part 7 of the Black Moachik tutorial. And in Part 7 we are going to acquire a Honeycomb. I had a little loading glitch there. And in order to get a Honeycomb you need 8 Stone Grawl necklaces. I just really like the sky in the Char Homelands. That's the sun up there with the dark clouds. It's very pleasant. And then we got this cool little fire thing in the camp here. Anyway, we are in Doomlore Shrine. And in order to kill the Grawl, we're going to be going down here to Sagnoth Valley. Now there's a quest that you get from Vale called Be Very, Very Quiet, which you follow some Char down here to fight some Grawl, and I don't know if there's a way to abuse that to hop back and forth between Sagnoth and Grothmar in order to fight them over and over again and farm them during that quest. I have not verified that. I will likely check that out the next time I have a character doing that quest, but at this time it just doesn't make sense to I guess research that at this moment. I may add an annotation or something later if I find out. Anyway, I am with my normal party of 8 here. We're going through normal mode, and of course we're going to drop by on the way and pick ourselves up a Siege Devourer. There's a place to get a Siege Devourer over here, I believe it is, and there's also one right here. And so obviously we're going to be getting the one that's in the zone, but it's good to remember if you have multiple player characters and everybody wants a Siege Devourer, which could presumably be loads of fun, then you can actually map out of a zone and the Siege Devourer comes with you, and you can just continue using it as you come back in the zone and get another one, because they'll respawn. So it's not until you actually enter a town or an outpost that you lose it. Or a dungeon, I think. We're going to be testing that. So those guys are fun. The spirits are going to stick around there, hopefully, if any of them decide to pop back up. I think there's a skill that it doesn't show any use of it because you can't target dead stuff. But there's like a 25% chance that they won't stay dead, which apparently was added in later to make them seem more like bugs that you just couldn't kill no matter how many times you stepped on them. Ugh. Anyway, as we are fighting some Char on the way down to kill a bunch of Grawl, we do want to make sure that we've got Rebel Yell equipped, because it's going to be helpful. Because, I mean, I'm rank 10, but that for me is plus 10 armor, plus 100% adrenaline, and plus 2 energy when killing them. So it's some pretty significant benefits. I mean, it's nice to have the extra armor versus Char, and it's definitely good if you have an adrenaline-based build like I do to be able to get that extra adrenaline from fighting them as well. So make sure you put Pain Inverter on this guy if you got it, because he's going to use Siege Devourer. Oh, actually, normally he does the Devourer Siege, not Siege Devourer Swipe. And if he does Devourer... Wow, I don't know that I've ever seen his life stay low like that. Interesting. Anyway, if he does Devourer Siege, which is the skill number 1, then he will pretty much insta-kill himself if he's got Pain Inverter on him. And there is this guy, Molotov Rocktail, which is obviously a play on Molotov Cocktail, but we're going to be ignoring him because we don't have to kill him. He's kind of a rough fight too, so we'll just blow him off. We're not really going to be fighting much of anything else this whole way, but I am going to talk to you about the skill bar on the Devourer, which, hey guys, skill 1, as I mentioned, is Devourer Siege. That's one where it attacks twice and does knockdown on impact. Skill 2 is kind of useless. It just does piercing damage. Skill 3 knocks down everyone in the area on top of dealing damage. It is very, very powerful. The disadvantage of using skill 1 is that it gives you see that 10 with the little gray circle next to it. It's 10 points of you can see it fading up there, 10 points of exhaustion. And so the way that I like to use the Devourer is with a scythe. I'm not just doing that for the sake of convenience, but when I'm using the worms, I actually prefer to use a bow, because when you're in these creatures like this, it actually affects their attacks. But if you notice here, as I use that, then you can run up and you can use Siege Devourer Swipe. So you get knocked down on them from using Devourer Siege, and then you run up and you can attack multiple enemies because you've got a scythe equipped. You can hit up to 3 enemies at a time, and then you can do Siege Devourer Swipe and knock everybody down again. And then at that point, what you can do, because this has a 10-second cooldown, is you can basically back off and do Devourer Siege again pretty quickly if the enemies are clumped up well enough, which is really, really nice. I mean, it's not too fun to have that much exhaustion on you, but it wears off fast enough between battles that sometimes it's good just to end the fight very, very quickly that way. And on the long hauls, you don't want to be using Devourer Siege too much. You want to let that exhaustion wear off. Now, skill number 4 just gives you food, and if you've got a good party, then you don't need skill number 4. Skill number 5, Hiya! Is a stance, which makes you move 11% faster. And if you use it again while it's still on, makes you move 11% faster. Notice that's 22% faster, and then now it's 33% faster. And you can actually maintain this indefinitely and leave your entire party behind. The Siege Devourer is so big that it seems like you're moving a whole lot more slowly than you really are. And also notice, as it wears off, now I'm moving 22% faster. It doesn't just disappear, so if you forget to use that skill a couple times, it actually takes a little while to wear off completely. And so you have a lot of freedom with using that skill, but you notice I've left everyone behind there. Not the best thing. So as we enter Sagnoth Valley, which, yes, you can go in from the other side, but I prefer not to because then you have to fight, if I recall correctly, a whole lot more char from the get-go. We're going to go ahead and snag this so that we can get the bonuses. I think, what is it, like extra HP or something silly like that. But may as well grab it. It's not like it's out of the way. And we have a couple Grawl right there, which we're going to go ahead and pick those guys off. Even though they're grouped up with some char, it could be a little bit of a difficult fight. If you're doing this in hard mode, you definitely want to pick them apart. And now, why would you want to be doing this in hard mode? Well, why would we want to be doing this in hard mode? Quite simply, if you want to vanquish, then this would be the time to do it, because you're going to be killing a bunch of Grawl vanquishing in this area. It's not like you have to zone in and zone out. There are actually quite a few Grawl, so if you are vanquishing here, you're probably going to be getting yourself some of those stone Grawl carvings. Oh, and those superb char carvings, as you see that there. As I seem to be getting a lot of those, which is nice. Keep those, save those. They're worth about 250 gold a piece if you sell them to players, because they're used to get the ninja mask thing. If you have 250 of them, it gets you the ninja mask from Vale after you finish his quests. They're just a spirit of preservation. Now, I did come out here with some stone Grawl necklaces of my own. And on top of having those 4 stone Grawl necklaces, I also had my 4th birthday today. So I got myself a miniature Jorah, which I'm really, really happy about, because it's a purple, and I can sell that for a lot more. So the last 3 that I got on my or I guess it was 2 that I got on my warrior and my necromancer, they were white. And so this zone, this whole area over here is all char. We're just going to skip that. And then we've got some more Grawl right down here. So the Char Ward Keeper. And I don't know why I'm feeling like I should be afraid to use Devourer Siege right now, but with so few enemies, there's not really much of a need for it. We're picking off the Grawl. We're picking off the Grawl. And so you can experiment. You can carry different weapons out with you, because your skill, like, it doesn't matter if you've got points in marksmanship or points in swordsmanship or any of that. When you're in the Devourers or when you're in the worms, the damage that you do with your weapons is constant. It doesn't change. It's going to be the same no matter how much skill you have in that particular item. It's like, that's why I do 40 damage with that bow, even though it's like what requirement 10, and I have absolutely no marksmanship. All right, what are we up to now? I think we cut, yeah, a couple more Grawl right up there. We can... Boom! Oh, I didn't get lucky enough to get the knockdown on both of them. The two big groups of Grawl that we have to take on, one of them is like right over here and one of them is right over here, or something like that. We're going to be able to look at it for certain. You can cut back up here and you just take on a couple of those guys and then you're going to be encountering the large group of Grawl right here. Which, I think it's that group. There is a group of Grawl that include... It's not that group. There's a nearby group of Grawl that include a boss that's actually quite difficult to deal with as a group. So we're gonna work on a little bit of special weapons and tactics with them. Alrighty, Rudy righty rah. These guys are really easy to pick apart when they're not in large groups, though. The difficulty is that those Dark Priests have resurrection skills and are fairly effective healers as ritualists. And if there aren't enough of these Grawl, then it doesn't really make sense to use skill 1. But skill 3 is insanely powerful because it does AoE knockdown and it has a 10-second recharge. So if you can wait till enemies clump on you, then sometimes you can get lucky and do knockdown on multiple enemies. It's really, really good during battles with the Dark Priests. I will show you kind of how to abuse that in a moment. There we go. Oh. But the 10-second recharges on these skills is really nice. Now, Grawl Demagogue, Grawl Champion. I think we're going to want to take on those guys, but before that, we're going to cut up here, and it's these, I think. Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, this is coming in the Burning Forest, which in hard mode, honestly, is probably the single hardest zone that I vanquished. Aha! That's what I'm talking about. Okay, see that? That group right there. But anyway, that forest is probably the single hardest zone that I vanquished in the entirety of the game. Truly. And I probably used about 30 cookies just to stay alive, and the time that I actually did manage to beat it, when I had my big stash of pumpkin cookies. There are lots of Grawl to kill here, but I don't really feel comfortable going with a party smaller than 8, especially in the case of... I mean, if you're doing hard mode, you better have a specialized build to do anything other than a full party. Bees! So you wonder where the honeycomb comes from. It comes from these bees. Spirits, Grawl. There are a couple Grawl down there, but I don't think that's enough to warrant wandering all the way down that hill. Something to keep in mind if you don't really want to have to go through this whole process of farming all of these necklaces, as fun as it may be. I mean, it's good. Aside from vanquishing, it's good if you just want to raise your Evan Vanguard reputation, because getting a lot of kills in his own is always good for that. Why did I use that? Okay, I misused that skill just then. Oh my. Yes, the Siege Devourer swipe does not actually require a target, so that can be an issue. Anyway, if you don't want to do this entire run, I mean, pretty much anything involved with the Black Moa chick you're going to be able to purchase from other players. Some of them are easy enough to get for yourself. It would be silly to pay somebody else for it. But in the event that you don't want to have to get this one, then I believe Honeycomb is something that can be easily gotten from Nicholas the Traveler. So you can either get his chests and check that out yourself, or you could just buy them from players because the honeycombs themselves are abundant enough. I don't know what their value is. Not sure at all. So I'm going ahead and just taking out these guys so that they don't try to flank me while I'm dealing with that monster group over there, which has that dude, Fazioroios, a guy with too many freaking vowels in his name. And so we're gonna draw some enemies over here, far away from their priests, because why not? You basically want to make sure that your guys don't get caught up too far in there. And pull back your heroes regularly. Make sure those undead get between them and the enemies. Just make sure that your heroes don't get in the middle of the fray here, because there's a lot of enemies and it is in fact hard to kill them all. Oh, here we go. See, that was good right there. Probably would have been a good place for a Devourer siege, but you can't win them all. Take out the champions, and the champions aren't actually the difficult ones. It's these dark priests that we want to deal with. And so one of the ways to do that is to just try to get damage on them, because putting pressure on the dark priests can make it so that they are not spending as much time healing their own guys. And you can also turn around and peg them. Because the more that your guys are just allowed to do whatever they want over there while you're picking off Grawl priests and things, the harder it is going to be for them to heal everybody. But there are so many healers here, it can be really frustrating. Come on. So as you can see, they've got champions running around. And we're going to be picking off a Dark Priest there. Pick off this champion here. Dark Priest there. And this is truly, truly a pain in hard mode. Oh, come on, Gwen. You can survive. Oh, I guess not. Alright, so that's helpful. Yep, no, stand on me. Why am I missing? There we go. Okay, so we want to keep them down. You want the enemies to clump up as much as you can get them to. We're going to go ahead and hit those guys. You want to try to knock down those priests as much as possible. So this fight, man, I don't know what else to say about it. I feel like there should be more things that I can say. It just takes a really, really long time. I guess for those that want to be vanquishing this area, you might consider making sure that your party can take this fight before you bother even going down here. Red iris flowers, I like those. So that's it. Dun dun! What an excellent musical finish. What a way to trip over my words so much that I make no sense. So there's that whole fight. And the next big group is, I want to say it's very nearby, if you play your cards right. Grawl champions, those parties, those little groups of 2 I don't care about too much, because I don't want to have to fight all those tumbled elementals just to get a couple of Grawl. There it is, that's the other group, and they're going to be much easier to deal with. Dun 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 dun. What happened to the music? Is that it? It's over? Oh. There we are. I'm going to skip those char over there. I mean those Grawl. I'm going to skip those Grawl and those char. That champion doesn't stand a chance. Okay, so definitely make sure that whenever engaging large groups of enemies that you hug walls. So when you hug walls, then all the melee fighters come running around that wall. And they all clump up on you. Like that. And then you can do this. Look at that. Totally owned. They have no chance to survive, make their time. And we're going to go ahead and peg these guys, because they're what's keeping everything alive. And the piercing damage is significantly more in the Grawl Dark Priests, as you can see. Oh, sturdy recurve bow. I guess we'll start with the red iris flower. It seems to be closer. Well, it's sort of depressing that we haven't gotten any stone Grawl necklaces this whole time. I assure you those enemies do drop them. Swarm of bees. You know, they never hurt you. They just fly around. Nothing ever attacks them. Really? Are they coming back to life? What's going on? I guess they just have like a wide patrol arc. That's right. What's up? Didn't see that coming, did you? More or less, though, that's going to be the major groups of Grawl. You can go around and pick off more of them to your heart's content, but those are essentially the groups. And so now we're going to abuse this awesome ability that I have to run faster than everything and leave my party behind long enough that they all die, to just head over here, where this Evan Vanguard Scout is. Oh, and also, a fun little tip. If you hold shift when you click on something, you don't run to it. Like, you notice I've got Galton Franks there selected, but I'm not walking to him. And likewise, you can do that with the Evan Vanguard Scout. It's just sort of a fun thing to save yourself a little bit of time if, say, you're walking to the Zunlai chest, but immediately know that you're going to go to the merchant. Then you can select the merchant while you're on your way to the chest. So we need 4 more in order to get the Honeycomb, because as I said, you need 8. But this is the guy you talk to, and bing, I already have a Honeycomb. I had a whole bunch of Grawl necklaces saved up for the last time I got a Black Moa chick, and so I was able to get 2 Honeycombs when I did that. And so I've already saved that one up, and well, since you've seen pretty much the way to farm these guys, if you can get a smaller group, that's awesome. But those are the 2 best groups to pick off for killing Grawl, and you can map in, map out to your heart's content. But yeah, that's about it. So we're going to just pop in here, because I don't remember. I'm pretty sure the Siege Devourers do not come with you. And we're about to find out for sure. They do not. But one thing that you can keep in mind is that you can pop in there and pop right back out, so you can rezone in that area. If you don't feel like you need to have the Siege Devourer, then you can get more Grawl that way, and you can go pick off those 2 groups again, or just, you know, whatever groups you feel like taking on. Also, a good note when going in these dungeons in Eye of the North, when you finish the dungeon, if you do resign, it'll take you back to the outpost, but if you wait the 2.5 minutes or something for that timer to actually run out, it will take you to the explorable area right outside the dungeon, which is really good if you happen to be in one of those zones where the quest giver is right outside the dungeon, such as right over here at Bogroot Groves, bog root growths. They have Tex and Griff, I believe it is, Griff and Tex. The fun little references to red versus blue. And going all the way up there is really kind of a pain in the ass just to get like 1.5k for your quest reward after finishing that. This one, I mean, it's good to do it there just so that you can follow up with the other quests involved. But some of the ones that are a little bit out of the way, like Ula's Lab and Arachnai's Haunt, they can be difficult. Examples of ones where it doesn't really matter would be like Sepulchre of Dragramar or even Raven's Point. It doesn't take a whole lot to get up there. But say Frostmaw's Burrow, I think the quest giver for that is like right here. So yeah, again, that's one where you'd want to... No, it's this one has a quest giver right there. I don't remember where Frostmaw's Burrow's quest giver is. It might be nearby there. Anyway, that's just a pro tip, is if you let that timer run out, it won't actually send you back to the outpost and can, in fact, save you time if you just wait out the timer. But there you are. There you have it. That is how to farm yourself some stone grawl necklaces and get yourself a honeycomb. And we will continue with part 8 when we get the branch of Junie berries, or Junai berries, or whatever they're called, which is done in Nightfall, and it's possibly, with the exception of the Moa egg itself, possibly the easiest one to do. It's definitely easier than farming the supplies and stuff. Anyway, we'll get on with it, and hope to see you soon, or in any case, you will see me later.